All right. So,
Nice.
Ian, before we start, maybe tell us just a little bit about who you are and Design Space, the agency that you started.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited about this.
Yay.
So my name's Ian. I'm the founder and creative director of DesignSpace. I work with tech and cyber companies to help level up marketing teams, design assets on an ongoing basis. Um, you know the drill. There's always a new, need for a creative asset, and that's kind of where I step in, help in-house teams. Maybe they don't have um, a design team in-house, or maybe they have a team, but they're slammed and they need some extra resources. That's where I come into play. And it's fun. I get to work with a lot of different types of companies and I get to learn a lot in the process. And, you know, design is always fun to play around with and see how you can, you know, show something in a better way. So that's always a great puzzle.
Awesome.
Um, yeah,
Very cool. And it's cool. I really so Ian, I really admire the work that you do. And I have worked with you in the past because at
yeah.
Votiro, we hired Ian's agency, Design Space, and he still does graphics there for the company. Um, And I just really admire the style that you have, the work that you do, and your thinking process, which is what we're going to go through on this webinar, which is like, great. Obviously, like Canva has templates and there are things that you could plug and play that are easy to do, but um, great design actually comes from like a strategic background. And Ian is going to
Totally.
share his thoughts, not just about like, oh, this is the past and this is how it's better, but also like how he got there. So, Ian, I'm kind of going to cede the floor. I'll be watching the
Cool.
chat and I'll jump in if there is anything, any questions people have. So again, everybody, make sure to put questions in the chat. Okay, you can screen share and get started.
Sounds good. It looks like you might need to give me permission to do that though.
Okay, well, there we go. Okay, try now.
Okay, cool.
it's
We're there
only
now.
it's only year 4 of just doing like Zoom calls, so go ahead.
All right, cool. So let's get this going. So, full screen. Cool. Can you see this okay?
I can see it. Put something in the chat if you guys can see it too. But I can see it.
Sweet.
We got the thumbs up
All
from lots of
right.
folks. Thank you.
All right. So to kick this off, we're going to go through, it says here 3 companies, but we actually put a bonus one in, which is Gianna and our partnership with well, we'll get to it. So let's just jump right into it, I guess. So we got the Cybersecurity Marketing Society. Um,
We don't see it.
Yana.
We don't see the next slide,
Oh,
Ian.
you don't?
No,
Did it go now?
no.
Oh no. All right, let's see. Hold on.
Excuse me. There's a dumpster truck outside.
Can you see it now by chance?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, cool. So let's keep it like this then. All right, cool. So all right, so let's talk about our partnership. So we've been working together on this for maybe about a year now.
Yes.
Um, and you guys had some pretty cool, bold branding, which I loved.
Thank
But you
you.
guys want to you want to take it up a notch. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I can give a little background, right? It's because we're the first company in this sort of this presentation of what Ian has done. So the Cybersecurity Marketing Society, we founded it in March of 2020, and we basically never updated any of our graphics since then. And earlier, like about a year ago, Ian, who I knew was an amazing designer, and I talked and we put together a partnership together. So basically, Ian's agency is one of our partners. You'll see him on the website. You'll see Design Space on the website. And what he has done in this partnership is actually show the designs and the talent that his agency has by redesigning some of our assets. So you can see on the left, this is a social media post that we post basically every 3 times a week, which is welcoming our new members. And we designed that one on the left using Canva. And so what Ian did was we reached out to him and we were like, hey, like we need to up level this. It looks a little stale. We've been doing this for years. It's not as exciting as it used to be. So how can we do it better? And Ian made these banners on the right. And Ian, maybe talk a little about like why you did them and the way you did them.
Yeah, totally. I mean, to begin with, the existing assets that you guys had were it was strong, but I just want to kind of highlight, places we can exaggerate and kind of lean more into. So, for example, I really like the big bold text that you guys had as like the H1. So I wanted to lean more into that. So I made it all caps and like a little bit brighter. But the main thing that I noticed was the dark purple background. So often it's tricky to do the dark theme in design. So I wanted to kind of shift over to the lighter theme and make it a little brighter, especially if we're going to have bold copy. I thought it was going to work better. And then also I want to give more highlighting room for the welcoming members. So that's kind of how we came to this new design. And I'm a big fan of like the confetti effect going on there. We've toned it down since, but it was fun for this type of post.
Exactly. Our goal was to be bold. And I would like to draw, right? This is a social media post and it's among 1,000 other social media posts. So graphics are really important on social media to get attention. And we were thinking, how can we what can we do to be bold and grab those eyeballs? And also, Ian, what you don't see, because um, this is like a PDF, is that it's a GIF too. So the confetti
Right.
actually like sprinkles down and you guys can all see this on our LinkedIn page. If you visit, you'll see it in action. So thank you, Ian.
Of course, of course. Yeah, I got another slide here just kind of showing some more fun banners that we've worked on in the past, especially the cyber marketing con that's coming up. Those are
Oh
fun.
yes, yes. He
I
made
like the dark theme for that one.
Yes. Yep. And those are for both sponsors, advertising sponsorships, and LinkedIn ads that we did, as well as graphics that we gave our speakers so that they could advertise the sponsorship, the conference on our behalf. And I love this. You all who are on this probably already do something similar. Like you create a kit of things to give to your SEs or your speakers or your sales teams. And when the graphics are really gorgeous, it's exciting to share them, right? When they're actually great looking, people really love them. Thank you, Ian.
Of
Awesome.
course. All right, so
Oh,
let's
and
get into
Jen,
this.
one comment. Jen says, I love the animation. It's so fun. Thank you. That's what we were going for.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's always the best part of designing too, is when we can kind of get a solid template and then move it into animation and just bring it to life. So mostly everything that we create, we always try to like bring it to the next level with animation, which is that's fun. All right, so let's get into this.
So
So
this
we're gonna
was Insane Forensics, the company, correct, Ian?
yes. Okay, so we got the request from Insane Forensics. It was a presentation slide, and the submission was we have a slide we've been struggling to tell a story on, talking about how the issue can be boiled down to three categories. So far, nothing is really doing it. So I totally can understand that. So this is the submission. So kind of at first look, I'd say this is actually not the worst slide. Often we're getting something with way too much text, and I think this is like a perfect amount for the upper level of copy on a slide. There's a lot of white space, which is great. It wasn't filled to the brim, and you could see some branded elements that were trying to be included, like that pattern in the back that's at lower opacity, and the logo on the bottom left. So there is a lot of good things to start working with here. So I kind of created a bit of like a design audit, the good and the bad. So kind of as we just reviewed, so there is a clear flow and the modern branding elements from the company. And then in terms of things that could be improved upon, the layout could be improved a bit. Um, there is not much leaning into the brand assets of the company. You can't really tell the personality of the brand here. And the biggest thing that stood out to me was the misaligned copy. So, for example, like the title, people, process, and technology are the same hierarchy of a copy, but they are in different places on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I did a bit of a deep dive into Insane Forensics uh, brand assets that I could find publicly on their website and on LinkedIn. So I just pulled a few elements here. So we got their logo with the cool gradient. I pulled a few of the core colors that were available. Can you see my mouse if I move it?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. So some of the icons with a gradient in there. And these two are really what stood out to me the most is this kind of black and white effect with an image, not a vector. And then also this cool geometric shape pattern. So with that, I kind of leaned into what I liked and removed what I thought maybe was a bit lacking. So, like I said, I like these icons with the gradients. Um, I wanted to kind of emphasize the arrow for this type of slide. So we have two different options here, and then taking advantage of this geometric shape in the black and white photos. Okay, so we got a few options of final slide designs. So this one was playing it a bit safe, kind of more similar to the original slide. So, three general boxes showing the movement and progression, throwing in some more of the gradient effect and some of these icons. I think for this specific use case, these icons might be slightly too detailed if you see like there's just like a lot of information there. So for something like this, maybe a different type of branded icon would work better. But nonetheless, we got option two.
Pretty.
This one is yeah. This one shows more of like a motion effect, like a movement. Um, so similar concept, three sections moving along. And then we get into the more exciting ones, which is this is the make or break moment with clients usually of do they want to go bold and in a new scary direction, or playing it safe is also understandable and makes sense. So this is kind of like the more bold direction to go. So heavily leaning into these geometrics and in the images, but also having very clear hierarchy within this step-by-step process. Also, the arrows were lost. Just it's more assumed that this is a process instead of having to, properly show it. Gianna, what were you
Right.
going to say?
I was just going to say, I love the simple things that you did that really, to me, apply the brand, like the gradient on the text. Like, wow, like it looks so much more than a traditional sort of template slide now from PowerPoint that you'd get. So it's really attractive. And I think it's hard to make PowerPoints look attractive also, by the way. So great job.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, totally. PowerPoint is one of the most challenging, assets to create because there's just a specific amount of information that needs to be included, but such a, limited amount of space for it. So, so thanks. And then basically the same option four, same type of slide now in a darker theme with some new images and new layouts, but general layout is essentially the same. I think this one, if this was a very important slide in the deck, I think this would be the one to pick.
Why?
Because it most likely the rest of the PowerPoint would be in this white background. So let's say you got to this and this was the slide that you really want to emphasize and you want to call attention to. This one would really stand out, but not add a character. It would still it would fit within the branding.
It'd be really big and bold. Oh, we got a thumbs up from someone who agrees. Insane
Nice.
Forensic, are you here? Are you on the call, Insane Forensics, and want to come up on the screen and provide your thoughts?
Yeah, curious your thoughts.
A lot of times people are shy because they don't expect to be brought up on camera. So let
So
us know,
fair.
Insane Forensics, if you company team, if you are here, and we will bring you up. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Ian.
No, that's okay. We could always backtrack. So those are the four slides for this submission. Were there any favorites amongst the crowd? Any clear winners? If you were given these four options, which of these would you pick? Fourth, nice. Was that you?
Jen loves the final two.
Nice.
Oh, John likes three. I like three a
Cool.
lot too, actually. I changed my mind. I'm going to go with what John Dasher said, and I'm going to say three.
Yeah,
So
nice.
three
It is the
wins.
cleaner, clear. I see that.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Depends on the venue.
Oh, good
That makes
point.
sense.
That is something too, right? Like when you're designing a PowerPoint, it's like, where is it going to be? Who are we talking to? Which is all the stuff that Ian, you would typically go through if you were talking to a client. But of course, since these were kind of submissions, you went off of mainly reviewing the website and the existing brand and the submission prompt set.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of assumptions made, I guess, when this, in my mind, I assume this was in a board meeting, but you're right, this could be at an event or a conference of some sort. So that would definitely change this. Cool. I agree, Margie. That's
Ian
awesome.
is agreeing with Margie, who says that she likes the black version because it makes the challenges seem more direct or dire and scary. Though it would be hard to print. That's true.
Yeah,
Also, is this
that
getting
is very true.
printed? Do you want to use your entire ink set?
That is why we had the light version.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. It would be
All right.
costly.
What
Cool.
is the next one?
All right. On to the next. So this is Pillar Technology Partners. We got a design submission. This was, to be honest, a very loaded submission. So there was a lot that was tackled in here. So let's go over it. So we're interested in creating more modern, edgy graphics for the company, looking to rebuild the website and all of its content.
Ian, this is the one where I think you went really above and beyond. So Pillar, I actually think Pillar couldn't be here because of the reschedule, but Pillar, if you are on, what this is gonna Ian went like, is this the one
Yeah,
with the website and everything?
yeah,
This is
yeah.
crazy. Ian's nuts. Go ahead. And
Yeah,
talented.
so so this is a gift and a curse, I guess, is when I get into something, I really go into it. And this was very fun, but I might have gone a little too deep. So anyway, let's get into it. So the main takeaways were a homepage for a website and branding elements, assets, logo, all that kind of stuff. So this was the actual submission that we got.
What
So
is
this
it,
was supposed to,
Ian?
yeah, so this is supposed to be a LinkedIn banner. Um, but upon more research, when I went to Pillar Technology Partners' actual LinkedIn page, this banner led to a YouTube video, which surprised me. I don't think from the initial look of this that I would have gathered that. So that did kind of change the direction of usage for this banner for me. So let's maybe just go over kind of like some general design aspects here. So some great things about this is that it's playful. Usually cybersecurity doesn't really lean into the playful side, but this was like a nice change on that. So I appreciated that. And then the dark background, which actually was done pretty well here. Things that could be improved upon is it definitely lacks structure. It's hard to understand what is the most important element in this banner. It's has a bit of a dated branding look, especially in the logo with the circular and square dots making up the pillar. And also that emblem on the bottom right doesn't really match the rest of the design. And in general, all the content on this banner is a bit oversized. So those are some things to address. So I did a bunch of digging and research to find out some more context on Pillar Technology. So these are some screenshots of their current website. This is kind of like further down on the website, just to kind of get the feel. So the first half is more like this dark theme, and the second half is more this light theme. And they have lots of fun colors to play with. And then here's some more assets. So their logo in color, some colors of theirs. This is actually where this banner links to. So this is what you're seeing on YouTube. And here are some elements on the website that I thought we could take advantage of. All right. So like I said, I kind of went very deep on this one. So I went all
Above and
in.
beyond, all in. Like, how many hours did you spend on this, Ian? Like,
Let's not
too
talk
many
about
hours. Okay.
it. Yeah, but it was fun. Okay, so the first thing that as a designer was bugging me the most was the logo. So especially how the word partners on the bottom stretched from edge to edge, actually even surpassing the edge, it kind of looks like, or at least gives the illusion. So I really want to tackle the logo. So I want to simplify it. Also, I felt like showing a literal pillar was just a little too, cliche, a little too on point. So I want to make it a more abstract idea. So this is just an idea. Obviously, there might be tons of other factors that go into how to actually finalize something like a new logo for a brand. But yeah, this was just kind of a rough idea of a symbolic pillar and kind of still leaning into the cyber technology aspect of it all.
Exactly. And just a reminder to the audience who already heard us say this twice, but this is only going off of Ian's knowledge of the brand from the website. It includes no brand deck. It includes no brand like deep strategy that you would usually do in a rebrand. And it includes the prompt, which I think they said modern. And I certainly think that this is the new logo is much more modern. And Jen and Margie are agreeing. They're saying that's great, and that logo is so much cleaner and more modern. So I think
That's
you
awesome.
you nailed the prompt on this one, Ian.
That's awesome. Cool. I mean, another thing across all three of these submissions is that there were some things I didn't want to stray too far off from the branding. So, for example, the font is actually the exact same font family. I don't really remember which one this was, but if it's just I took advantage of different weights in the font. So the Pillar technology is bolder, while the Partners is a thinner version of that same family font. Um,
Ooh,
that's true.
John is saying something very on point, which is it's easier to use for things like shirts and other branded merch. Because that's another thing. Like if you ever print stuff anywhere, it's like you have to think about color because the more colors you add, the more expensive it is if you ever want to do merch. And it has to fit on certain things. So that's like a really good point, John.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. All right. So, so kind of pushing forward into, I guess, a new concept for the brand is I want to bring more playful but still tech elements into their brand assets. And I want to lean into the colors that they had, but I actually kind of brightened all the colors up a bit to make it a little bit more modern and popping. So this is kind of where I landed. I am not 100% sure that this little robot guy would perfectly fit in within the context of the company, but I thought it was cute and it could kind of be interchanged for many other types of mascotty, type icons. So this is kind of where I landed. So let's get into how this all can kind of play into different assets. So this was the original prompt of the LinkedIn banner. So this kind of takes advantage of a lot more of the elements. So we got this new logo down here, which the cool thing about this logo is we can kind of change this pillar icon to whatever brand color that applies. I tried this blue one here to bring in some of the blues around. We got the same title, Cyber Snippet, but still bold, but just kind of more contained. And I think the most important part in terms of just a communication standpoint in this banner is sharing that this is a link to a video on YouTube. So I have it say new video with a play button here.
Exact.
I,
This is a social post, Ian, correct? So
this is
this
a
is
social post.
replacing. Can you go back to the social post just for a second? The one we just looked at. So
Yes,
it's
this is the
from
original.
this, and then that's the original, and then let's go to and then this is the new social post. So
Yeah,
I love especially what you said about the new video because right, it says what you're kind of getting, which is what we want in any sort of digital experience. As a marketer, I want the thread to follow through the journey. So it's like understandable what you're getting yourself into when you click on something.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it could be misleading or shocking when you click on something and you don't know actually where it's headed. So this is, more streamlined. Okay, so this was option one, and this is another option. So same concept, but this way it's actually even more clear and obvious into what you are clicking on. So maybe possibly too redundant, but a second play button here, and a still shot from the video, and kind of like with a new branded background and you really know what you're clicking into here.
I love this one. I like this one the
Uh,
best of the socials. I love it's the person and you can like see their big smiling face.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I agree with you. This is a stronger brand post perhaps, but this one is I think perfect for this video post. Okay, so then moving on to the remaining aspects of this submission, which was the homepage. So I kind of went ahead and took all the elements that we gathered of like better assets that could be used, and I went step by step through the current website and homepage specifically, and just kind of replaced each element, but tried to keep it true to what it is right now as like a functional website. So got the logo, obviously. We got like the H1, new brand asset here.
What's an
This was like a
H1?
little,
Sorry to interrupt. What's an
uh,
H1 for people who don't know?
like a header, the main header for the website. And then I I think if we go back, so here in the original current website, they had this kind of like banner down here to emphasize some product points. All right, here we go. So yeah, so it just kind of redesigned it a bit for it to be more emphasized and fit into this new branding style. And I thought also it'd be nice to include some sort of messaging right above here, something that's current. Maybe there's some event going on like Black Hat. So yeah,
I love that because you could switch that out kind of to your most recent campaign or whatever you want it to say, which is
totally.
really
It could,
cute.
yeah, exactly. It could be maybe there's like a new ebook or a report or anything you're trying to push, but without it being a pop-up, I feel like we're all a bit, we a pop-up comes up and the first thing you want to do is just get rid of it because you're on a mission to find something on the website. So this is a non-intrusive way to kind of share information built into the design.
And I also
So,
want to point out that the little bar with the product features, and actually it looks like it's more less features and more benefits there, is that I love
mm,
that it like draws the eye more in the obviously we're not making fun of anyone's website. Like everyone's website is awesome, but I do think it pops a little more for me particularly. And I have terrible vision and that might be why, but I feel like it does pop more. So
totally. All right. So then if you were to scroll down, so now this banner is now at the top. So let's see, let me bring reference. So that was this section, this next section was the boxes. I'm assuming this is a product offerings. So I want it just to be more modern and clear. So I kind of created this carousel version. Um, Again, might for a perfect use case, this might need to be tweaked a bit, possibly too oversimplified. But I thought this would be a nice way to, you know, condense all the information. Um, and then as you scroll down, there are these other sections. So, for example, here, this was actually graphics from the original website that I thought were really cool. So I tried to figure out a way to include those in this. Um, and also, there's kind of a bit, if you look here on this side, there's a bit of a graphic trend, which is like to try to keep you in the motion of scrolling down, that there's kind of a path built into the brand elements. So I really like that. Um,
I love that. That
yeah,
it's like follow the line through the site and there's continuity. And it feels very balanced. Because can you zoom in on the right hand side, Ian? Because it's hard to
totally.
see. So the on this is what like the homepage would look like, and it has that zigzag at the top and that zigzag at the bottom, and it's dark blue on top and dark blue on the bottom. It feels like a very balanced sandwich, like a website sandwich. It looks. I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. It looks delicious.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was kind of my intention. And the cool thing also about websites, they really there's a different art to them than most other design assets. So they kind of need to work when you're, like viewing a website as normal, you just see what's on your screen. But then they also need to work when let's say you take a screenshot in this kind of full landing page way, and there needs to be a flow. You can't just have every element repeating over and over again. So it's fun to throw different types of elements or backgrounds to keep it separated with different sections. So um, yeah. Okay, well, I think that's the end of this one.
Awesome. And we have one more. We have who's next?
Who is next? Gray Analytics.
Gray Analytics. Gray Analytics, are you here? Actually, Gray Analytics is I know is due to the reschedule is unlikely to be
Ah,
here. And we
okay.
so desperately want to bring people up too. So if you want to be on, let us know if you wanted to jump on and ask your question to Ian live. We like to do that. Again, it's unexpected. People are like, oh, I didn't put on my I didn't wash my hair today, but let us know in the chat. So go ahead, Ian.
Yeah. And thanks, Jen. Appreciate the feedback on the last one. This one really was fun. All right. So we got Gray Analytics. This is the last submission. So their submission was, we think the Slick Sheet, which just as a side note, I have never actually heard Slick Sheet before. It's usually a one pager or
Oh,
brochure.
I
This is the
have.
first I've heard. Yeah?
Okay, who here calls them slicks and who here calls them one pagers? Yes, Axe Yakubov asked if the recording will be available. Yes, it will be available. Sign up for our newsletter on cybersecurity-marketing-society.com, and I'll also send it out to everybody after this, probably tomorrow, and it'll be on our YouTube, and we're probably going to post it on LinkedIn too, so it'll be a lot of places to look. But if anyone wants to chime in, you're welcome, Max. If anyone else wants to chime in, I've heard it called a slick and a one pager. And this is funny because I had like a conversation with someone about one pagers yesterday. So you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like a one pager thing going on. But go ahead.
Yeah. The theme of the week. All right, cool. So we think the Slick Sheet is too busy. We'd be thrilled to have it redesigned along with the company's Facebook profile image. All right, so let's take a look. So this was on the left was the one pager, the Slick Sheet. That's very hard for me to say.
Can
Okay,
you
no, I'm
zoom in
gonna.
on it?
Of course, of
We
course.
could call it a one pager.
We're gonna call it a one pager. So this was a submission. We can go over all the details of it, and then I just took a screenshot of the Facebook profile photo. Oh, hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so in terms of a design audit for the one pager, here are some things that I noticed. So the logo is, I would say, a pretty timeless logo. It just works. Doesn't really matter. This could be from like the 80s, the 90s. It could be in 10 years from now. So that's great. So there's a lot to work with there. And of course, the different varying blue colors in the branding are also pretty classic and timeless. So those are great, strong elements to work with. In terms of the design of the one pager, so I would say this is a very busy one pager. There's a lot of info here. I understand that for these types of use cases of one pagers, there's usually a lot of information that's trying to be shared. So we can work within that. Another thing that I noticed is that the hierarchy of information is a little hard to digest. It's hard to know what you're supposed to be looking at first, what's the most important. All the text is generally the same size in terms of the main body copy. And as I mentioned before, maybe it just in general, there's too much copy. So let's see how we can kind of modify this a bit. So as per usual, went through the brand's assets that are publicly available on the website and on LinkedIn. So grab the logo, grab some colors that I found. And what I largely noticed from their website was that they really leaned into a lot of boxy elements. So everything was kind of put into squares, rectangles, these circles, big numbers. And then the other thing I took away, which wasn't really noticeable in this original submission, was that they have this really nice popping blue, this like kind of baby blue, which stands out really nicely on this dark black and white image. Yeah. Okay, so leaning into that, I thought let's tackle the Facebook profile first. So this was the original photo, profile photo, the logo. I actually think it's fairly okay. I wouldn't be so mad if this is, what it was moving forward. But I want to take advantage of the gray. I understand it's gray analytics, but if if it was allowed, if the company was into it, this is what I would suggest is dropping analytics from the main logo and just leaning into gray. I think there's a lot of cool things happening in this logo. I like kind of it overflowing just a bit on the edges. So it's even larger than it would be if it was, edge to edge. Um, I think there's some humor perhaps in the fact that the name is gray and there is no gray to be found here. It's, you know, baby blue and white. And I think that just stands out a bit. Um, I also love the A kind of swooping into the Y. I think that's very creative.
It's a gorgeous logo. Like you said, it's already
Yeah,
beautiful. So, and I like the zoom in. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, huh, because as someone who has run the marketing org at a company, I'm very like brand, right? It has to align to the brand standards. And what you did was you did something very outside the box by making it like pop and say gray. But what it did for me is it made it very bold and modern and cool even. It's like a cool thing. Like the Facebook, the way you edit it, Ian, it looks so much more like cool. If I can say
yeah.
cool one more time,
Is it cool?
it's a little cool. Yeah.
It's a little cool. No, yeah, that's awesome. That's kind of also the same feeling I got once I kind of figured that out. I really liked it. It actually, I was saying it as a timeless logo, but it weirdly also made it, yeah, cool. I don't know. It brought it into the future, and yet it wasn't changed at all, which is what's the coolest part of it. Um, okay, so this is kind of more assets leaning into the same idea. So I took that more vibrant blue and I wanted to incorporate it into the branding. So I found some kind of general images that could be used as more like abstract backgrounds or elements. I added like a gradient option here. And of course, there will be times where you'll need to use a proper logo. So I want to include that as well. Um, so yeah, so here is the first option for the one page redesign. So
Can you
this
zoom in,
one,
Ian,
oh
also?
yeah, sure, sure. So this is the same. These are the same, just like zoomed into different areas here. But from my perspective, I'd say this is a bit of a safer option in terms of it's kind of still delivering the same type of result, which is tons of text, lots of info, but the boxiness of the design is trying to more separate each idea and category. Um, we also got this more clear header here, and yeah, I'd say that is it for this one. If I were to give my opinion, I would, if this was like a client project, I would say, here is this as an option. I would not go ahead with this one, but it is an option for you to go with. Okay, so now moving on to some of the more interesting ones. So let me zoom in a bit here. So this version it really leans into the simplicity of the brand refresh, let's say. So we got this really big, bold, gray logo at the top, which I noticed that they liked having a big logo in the original one, so I wasn't too far off. Um, and there's a gray background contrast in the upper header to kind of give the separation. And then you move into the main parts of the one pager in terms of like the body copy. So for this type of layout, you're not going to be able to fit all the information on one page. This is often the struggle between design and copywriter or marketing team is it function or is it design? So I leaned into more of the design side of this. So if it was an option to have this one pager be, double-sided, for example, the remaining copy would be on the back end with more of
I
like a CTA at the bottom.
I would say, Ian, on that sort of like design versus content and copy, I would say that usually it is good to make less words. And also, what is the function of this one pager? Because a lot of one pager slicks, data sheets, at least in my experience, they function as leave behinds by the sales team. They function as like a very like an overview thing because the sales team wants to keep talking to that person. So they want something that interests the person, but then that person, has an amuse bouche almost and can keep talking to sales and can remember what they talked about. It has the high level benefits or points. And of course, then there are like technical data sheets. Oh, nice seeing you, German. Thank you for showing up.
Thanks for
Um,
joining.
it has the high level, and then there's a technical one, which maybe you do need to print out like every single like spec. So it gets really long. But what is the purpose of your slick is like where you start from, like how is it,
Yeah, yeah.
how is it going to live in the world? So I love this design. It looks so cool. Again, just to say cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, a part of me when I was designing this, I kept thinking, what makes this information important to have in a printout versus, could this be an overview and the rest of the more nitty-gritty detail is found on the website, for example, or at least, a dedicated landing page. So I guess that's just more of a content question versus design question, but
Yeah.
and actually, this next version here kind
Well,
of really. Oh yeah,
sorry,
go
just to
for it.
interrupt.
No,
Before
no.
we go there, we actually have a question from Gina,
Oh,
who says, used to call them slicks, but now they're mostly PDFs. Cool. She also asked, can you explain why you have the logo at both the top and the bottom on this one?
yeah, it's a good question. I I always feel like I, there's a few ways to answer this. Okay, so in general, I think it's good to have a proper footer for anything, even a print design. Just give context. There's a lot more info you can include in a. Sorry, hold on. Nope. Trying to. Okay. I guess it won't let me zoom and scroll at the same time. Anyway, I put the tagline down here, your business is safe with us. So that's something that wasn't able to be included in the main header. Also, we can include, contact info and emails and all that good stuff. So I think just from a design perspective, it's good to have the logo twice. But also in this specific design, the top logo was more of an interpretation of the logo, right where we dropped analytics. It was kind of like that design choice of being cut off a bit. So I wanted to have the proper logo also included just for brand consistency's sake.
Makes sense to me, everyone. Awesome. Any other
All right.
questions? I'll feel free to put questions in the Q&A box in the chat. We'll answer them as Ian keeps going.
Nice. Okay, so this third option actually leans into a lot of what I was saying before, which was kind of trimming down the fat in terms of content and just trying to find the main points that you're trying to make, and leaving the rest for maybe a different document or a website or someplace where someone can get more information. So this one, definitely the most modern of all three so far. We got this full page graphic in the background, which I think is pretty cool. Got that big logo, and then you have a very clear kind of main header with the at a glance information, which I think really draws your eyes in, and you really want to figure out what is that. And then the main copy in the middle is there. There would be like some icons and some relevant points for each of these, and then that same footer again. And then for the fourth option is kind of another version of this more modern take, a bit more condensed. The background image is more contained, but generally the same type of design.
These would all look really good in one of those slick holders at a trade show. Like I could see them printed. They'd look like
Nice.
very attractive. Ian, which one of these slicks is your favorite?
I would go with this guy.
I like
I
this one
think,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think it's just the most interesting. It's the most bold. It would get your attention if you're walking by, I think. Also, it's just the clearest if I want to really learn. I think that's always the irony with copy is this this and the original, it says the most amount of information, but it's the least likely to be read. While this maybe says the least amount of information, but it's the most likely to be read because it's more visually digestible. So I think it works to the advantage.
Very cool. Any more designs for great analytics, Ian?
I think that's it. I think we're at the end.
Well, so Brianna, if you're open to this, Brianna, I have to find where it went. Brianna Harrison said, we've been using the same image for webinars for a while and it needs a refresh. I would love some ideas on how to do that and put a link to the LinkedIn. Would you want to open that up and just take a quick look and maybe give Brianna some pointers?
Yeah, let's do it. Hold on one sec.
So hold on, everyone. If anyone else has questions or comments, of course, just put it in the chat. Does anyone want to come up on screen? It's literally always crickets. We ask on every webinar, and like I think like once or twice people have been like, yeah, I'll come up.
All right, I got this pulled up. So let's see.
And while Ian pulls that up, I'm going to launch a poll because I forgot to do it at the beginning. So, untitled poll. Good job, Gianna. What's your biggest challenge or challenges with design right now? Is it not enough creative resources, not brand aligned or consistent, and backlog of design projects or tasks? That was something we meant to ask at the beginning. Oh, and there's two polls actually. And then, are you interested in learning more about Ian since he's here and sharing all of his stuff? If you're interested in having Ian reach out or you guys talking after, feel free to answer that poll. And cool. I'm going to give it just like 30 more seconds for people to fill in the poll. It looks like 57% of people don't have enough resources, creative resources, and then 57% also have a backlog of design projects and tasks, which happens, especially if any of you are on small teams. My gosh, it's like, and then
Yeah.
14% said not brand aligned or consistent, which is,
Mm,
also if you don't have all that set up in the beginning, and you come in and maybe the company's been around for a while and they're just like people are just doing stuff like
yeah,
it might not be aligned. It might just be like we're just doing whatever we can. So
totally. That was that was our entire working relationship at Votero. No, trying to align all the brand assets.
yeah. And I did like Ian working with you. I'll say this because let's make this a testimonial, right? I did love working with you. You're very easy to work with. You reply and we could chat via WhatsApp. We also had an Asana board set up. And then what we would do is we would get on calls, not every day, but like once in a
Yeah,
while
yeah,
and just like align on like, all right, what are the hottest projects right now? Since we worked with you on a monthly like retainer basis. So we had an ongoing relationship. All right, we're done with this poll. Thank you, everybody. I can, and it ended up with 63% saying not enough creative resources, 25% not brand aligned, and 50% backlog of design projects and tasks. And if you're wondering why is that more than 100%, it's because you could choose multiple options on that one.
nice.
All right, so you want to pull up? I think it was
Yeah, let's do it.
Tandem.
All
Brianna,
right,
do you
can you
want to
see
come up
this?
here? Can we? Can I?
Yeah.
Brianna, come on up. Oh, all right. She's not going to come up. All right, go ahead.
No, okay. That's okay, don't worry. Okay, cool. So tandem, right? So you can see this?
Yes, we can see this. And I follow that page. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we've been using the same image for webinars for a while and it needs a refresh. So can you go down to that webinar image? And here's one right here.
Nice. So let's see, is this? Yeah, cool. Okay, so this is the main webinar banner. Cool. So right off the gate, I would say it's I'd say it's middle of the road. It's not bad, but we can find some ways to improve it for sure. So there's a lot of moving elements. There's a lot of hard lines, the actual lines in the design. Um, while I like them in terms of like a design style, I don't know if they perfectly accomplish what is attempting to be achieved. But in general, there's all the elements you would need in a banner. So there's a good place to work with here. Um, let's see. I opened also the website, and I want to see how it kind of compares in terms of branding. So we got this animated GIF or video here. This is nice and clean. I like this a lot. This is nice. Cool. So there's some good design choices being made here. Um, and what's cool is we could kind of we don't have to reinvent the wheel in the sense of all this work has already been done for the company. So we can kind of take these elements and assets and bring them into the banners. So for example, this could be when you hover, this could be a really nice effect that we could use also in the banner for, let's say, like, um, I guess we could for like the date and the time, the speaker's face and name. Um, we can kind of include that in a bit of like a box like this. Um, let's see what else we got here. Lots of these circles. Cool. Okay, so yeah, so I think if I were to tackle this, I would more emphasize the title, even though it looks actually fairly large in this banner, and you maybe wouldn't think to change that element. I'd say the most important thing here is the title of the webinar. If someone wants to sign up, that's what they're going to be most interested in. So we need to make sure that that is as clear and, let's say, bold, even if the text is not necessarily bold, but bold, and everything around it is supporting that main header. And then the second most important thing is probably Samantha's headshot. We want to say who's speaking at this event. So those are the two things I would make sure to emphasize, and everything else would kind of be like a supporting actor in the banner.
I
But
see what
overall,
you
pretty good.
mean. Oh, sorry.
No, no, go for it.
Yeah, I see what you mean about like the elements because they're all like to me again, to the marketer and not the designer, they're all like nice elements, right? Like lines and like a little box, like stuff that you think would be like, all right, I want to jazz up what I'm doing. I don't want it just to be like a white background with our logo and our title. But when I look at this, it does look busy to me.
Is it
It,
right?
it busy. It's like, like a lot going on. So would you say like bold the title, maybe delete some of the elements and move stuff down?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, I assumed looking at this that a redesign would actually not delete any of the elements in there. It's
Oh,
it's it's more like let's figure out how to redo this puzzle of elements. So, for example, like these lines are very cool, but you probably can't have lines and these like angular um, geometric shapes in the background. It has to probably be one or the other. Also, you probably there's three main colors here: this purple, the white background, and the highlighted orange. So maybe figure out a way to kind of incorporate these colors a little bit more in terms of like a, let's say, a 70%, 20%, and 10% breakdown. So maybe the white is the 70% and the purple blue is 20% and the orange is 10%. Um, yeah, so just kind of shifting things around a little bit more to give it more of like a hierarchy. But I think, yeah, I agree with you. The elements are there. It's just the execution maybe is a bit on the busier side.
awesome. Thank you, Ian. So we are just a few minutes out from ending. I want to thank you, Ian, for coming on and doing all this for free. I know the people who submitted are actually going to get one of the versions of their designs from you. So,
Absolutely.
that's very kind of you because I actually know you put a lot of hours into this and we appreciate you doing that for the society and members of society. Oh, John said, really love Ian's willingness to perform live without a net. I know, I know. Thank you, Ian. I think this is your first webinar too, right? This is one of your first
Yeah,
meetings. Yeah.
it is. It is. Yeah, this was
So
really fun. I enjoyed this.
yeah.
Jenna, thank you for making it so wonderful. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, Jen's dropping a little seed here. She's saying, are there any plans to have a call like this again in the future? Would you be open to that?
I
Maybe get
would, yeah.
some more designs
I'm
going?
I'm so down. Yeah, that'll be so fun. Maybe we
Oh,
can figure out a like a new approach to it, or I don't know. We can change it up, but it's always fun to take a look and kind of see what different companies are doing and where they have room to improve. That's
awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. So everyone, Ian is on LinkedIn, Ian Barin. Maybe Ian, drop your LinkedIn in here. We have some folks that Ian will follow up with. And Ian, you're also going to be at Cyber Marketing Con, which is
Yeah, I
the
am.
Cybersecurity Marketing Society's conference. Yay, I see
Woo.
little emojis popping up in December. And so people can also meet you in person there, which is like not an opportunity a lot of us have to meet folks that we've met virtually in person. So I'm so excited to see. We haven't met actually.
No, we've never actually met in real life, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
So
so it's finally gonna
everyone,
happen.
exactly. So everyone, designspaceagency.com is Ian's website. It's absolutely gorgeous. I know you just did a redesign on your website and you did an amazing job. And
Thanks,
thank you
thanks.
again for being on.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and this was so fun. Thanks for everyone who was here and the submissions. And if you want to chat, feel free to reach out, and you know, take on a fun project.
All right. See everyone. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye.
Bye, bye, Tiana.